Hello and welcome to this video, which will explain to you how to create, set up, and share your digital poster and ultimately get it on your website. So I'm going to cover a lot. So at any point in this video, after I give a direction, press pause and follow the step that I've just explained, and then, press play when you're ready to move on. All right. If you want to watch it all the way through, you can. But when you're actually completing what I'm saying, make sure that you're pausing the video as you go so you don't miss any of the steps. Okay. First off, if you're working independently, know that in this video I might have to talk about what to do if you have a partner. So when I do that, you can obviously ignore that. Those of you that have partners, if you're watching this video because you've gotten all your signatures and your partner is not in the room with you at the moment, that means you are automatically going to be doing the setup. And that just makes it easier because you don't have to talk to them to figure out who's going to set it up, because you are. And it's not a lot of extra work. You're just going to set it up initially so you can both work on the poster. Those of you that are in the room together, so your partner is there with you and you've gotten all your signatures and you want to set up your poster, you need to decide which one of you will do the setup. It can only be one of you. It doesn't matter which one. It's only going to take a second, but and then both of you will be able to work on the poster. But you both should not follow the setup directions. Okay, so if you haven't figured that out yet, press pause and go talk to your partner about which one of you is going to do the setup. Okay, so what I need you to do first is go to your Google Drive like I am. All right, and then in your Drive, you should have a folder right here called 7th grade. It should be a shared folder. Remember, it's not that it's shared with me or Mrs. Sittig. We changed it from being a private folder to a folder that anyone with the link can view things. And that's just so that when we put any files on our website, our Google site, they'll be viewable. So we're going to open up that 7th grade folder because we want our Google Drawing to have that share setting. And that we won't have to worry about it being visible on our site as long as we're putting it in this folder. So once you have it open, hopefully you have some files. I don't, just because I don't use this folder. It's just for demonstration. We're going to click New, and we have to go to the bottom because we want Google Drawing and it's not listed there. If I hover over More, we get another list, and I can see Google Drawing there. So we're going to choose that. And whenever you put something in a shared folder, it's always going to ask you, are you sure you want to do that? You sure you want to create and share one that's in a shared folder? And we do. So always just hit create and share. That's not like an error message or anything. Okay, so now we have our Google Drawing. So let's do the setup. The first thing is we should give it a name. And what you can do is put your first name. If you're a partner, and you have another partner, why don't you put both of your names? So for demonstration's sake, I'm going to just talk about me and Mrs. Sittig being partners. So I would put my first name and Mrs. Sittig's first name and citizenship poster. Okay. So if you need to pause, hit pause, but it should be your first name, your partner's first name, and citizenship poster. If you're obviously working alone, it's just the one name. And then I'm going to hit enter, because it will make that stay and save it. Okay, so once you've named it, real quick, those of you that are partners, here's something for people who are working solo. You do not have to do this, but if you have a partner, you're going to come over to the share button. You're going to click that, and you need to share it with your partner. So again, for my demonstration, I'm going to choose Mrs. Sittig as my partner. So I'm going to grab her email address and make sure over here that your partner has the ability to edit the poster. They need to be able to manipulate things so that they can work on it with you. Okay, so you should have that pencil there. And you're going to hit send. Okay, now those of you that are a partner, what you're going to do, because you should have access to it now, is you have to go to your Shared With Me Drive, and it should be sitting there at the top. So I'm going to let's pretend this is a Google Drawing that somebody shared with me, even though it's not. What you need to do is come over, and again, this is just for the partner who it got shared with. If you click this arrow next to my drive, it will show you your folders. What I want you to do is grab that Google Drawing, the citizenship poster that your partner just shared with you, and I want you to click on it and drag it over into your 7th grade folder. Okay, so you should be on your own Chromebook, obviously, to do this. This is for the partner. So that this file is shared properly for you, so that you'll be able to find it and it'll be visible on your site too. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the drawing now. And what we're going to do first is the page setup, all right, because the size of the poster right now is not what we want. So the first thing we're going to do is go to File, okay? And let me get rid of me. It's in the way. And down here is, under File, is Page Setup, and that's what we want to choose. So I'm going to choose Page Setup, and there's like a standard setup, but if we drop this down, there's a couple of other options, and we're actually going to make a custom poster because I'm going to tell you the size that I want it to be. Okay, so the first thing I want you to decide is, and I think originally I'd said you couldn't do this, but I'm going to let you do it. You can choose to have your poster be landscape or portrait. Okay, so landscape is when it's longer at the top and the bottom than it is on the sides. That's landscape. So it's more of a rectangular going long across. Portrait is when it's longer on the sides. If you like, my example was a portrait poster. So if you want it like this, then you're going to do the portrait option. So I'm going to show how to do both. So if you need to pause and check with your partner to make sure, if your partner's not in the room, you get to make a decision and they'll have to live with it, I suppose. So first, let's talk about if you're going to do it like I did. If you want to do a portrait, meaning it's longer on the sides than it is across the top or the bottom. Where it says this by this, the length times by the height, we are going to put in 55 over here, and we're going to put 70 over here. And then we're going to hit OK. Okay, and you can see that it's portrait. Okay, it's longer on the sides. Now, if you would rather do the landscape and you want it longer going across, you're going to just do the opposite of what I just said. So you're going to go to Page Setup, you're going to choose Custom, and instead of 55 here, we're going to put 70. And instead of 70 over here, we're going to put 55 and hit OK. And your poster will look a bit longer across. Okay. Now, because we made our poster large, what you're going to need to do is know that you have to sort of zoom in and you have to make things a lot bigger than you would think, okay? Because your poster is actually pretty big. Like when I zoom in, you can sort of see that there's a lot of space here. So for example, all right, whenever you add text, you're going to hit the text box, okay? So I hit that and it allows me to draw a text box. So now that I have that, my menu changes because now I can manipulate the text. Now, if I start typing, see the cursor here? See how teeny tiny it is? Because our poster is so big and the font is set to 14, it's teeny tiny, this font. So we're going to have to use letters that are much bigger. And you're going to have to play around with it, okay? So you're going to have to sort of experiment with sizes. So let's see what happens if we go 96. Now the cursor looks decent, okay? So let's say this is going to be where I'm going to put the word truth on my poster, okay? Looks a little small. If you look at my poster, truth is sort of large on the page. So you're going to want an even bigger font. So if I click on that, I'm able to just type in a number because it doesn't really continue this list. So I'm going to just put in, I don't know, let's see what happens when we put 200. Okay, it's bigger, but I could say, oh gosh, what about 300? And what does it look like? All right, that's a little bit better, okay? Remember when you're choosing font, you're not going to choose things like this or anything crazy fancy. You want things to look very plain and not like you would never use this. You wouldn't use this. Make sure the font you're choosing is not too flashy or fancy, okay? You are able to manipulate this with the text. So if you want to tilt words and have them be askew, you can use this little toggle here to do that. And then obviously you can stretch the text box and do what you need. Remember that for color, you cannot use any color except white, black, and shades of gray. Okay, so for example, your poster background.